teaching us some bendability with each other so this friction can stop. For this we are thankful. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have, we just have to change it over 50. Ms. Shuck, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mayor Dale Massad.
Here.
Vice Mayor Terrence Rowe.
Here.
Please let the record show that Councilwoman Nancy Britton is absent this evening. Councilwoman Jenny Sorrell. Here. Councilman William Dittmer.
Here.
City Attorney Joseph Colbert. Please let the record show he is absent this evening. And Interim City Manager Tom O'Neill.
Oh, Jim O'Neill. Jim Matthew.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Announcements from the staff. Okay. General public, do I have a sign-up sheet?
It's there, sir. To your right, underneath your stuff.
There it
Got it. Richard Melton.
Good evening, Council. Rich Melton, 5848 Central Avenue. I just wanted to read a brief statement to try and clear some of the air about the Bayou Business Association, so in hopes that we all start off on a positive note. As the Vice President of the Bayou Business Association, I would like to remind Council of how I just lost my message. That's bad, right? We gotta start this off right. Yeah. I would like to remind Council of how our organization has reached out and tried to work with the Council and the staff. Please don't forget about the countless meetings that we've had in the past, how we've discussed how we begin to implement the award-winning WOD plan. For years, members of the Bayou Business Association have had private meetings with the city's mayors, city's managers, and city council members to discuss the city's strengths and weaknesses. The BBA has always been there for the city. We have discussed marquee signage, street lighting, landscape parking, solutions, and proposed traffic patterns and changes in the WOD and the marquee signs so that people would know about our district. With one-way streets, there would be room for pocket parking throughout the area. With street lights, people could walk safely during the evening hours. With landscaping, the WOD would just look better. These weren't just talked about, they were supposed to be implemented. And I'm asking you this evening that we take these current plans that we have all signed off on and we've spent countless dollars to implement, that we actually start implementing the plans that we've already made and find ways to make it work. We are here to work with you. We would like to set up a workshop with you at some point to discuss this further so we can make solutions to these problems in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mariano is here. Commissioner Starkey is here. I would like to recognize them. Would you like to speak first or last?
Evening, Mayor, council members, welcome. I'm very pleased to say that after attending the Bayou meeting last night, I think I have a way to have just such a workshop that Mr. Mullen had just mentioned. Talking with our staff, Melanie was at the meeting last night and she made mention of, we've got the Harbors plan in place. We'd like to kind of work with the overlay district that you have in place and maybe do a workshop in a neutral setting, let the county run it. We want to have all the council members come, all your staff come, and just kind of like go through and put a full presentation on, then do a full discussion all the way through and kind of look through, and maybe that sets some groundwork for the future for everyone to come together and kind of get to a resolution about what we actually want to do, what you want to do with the overlay district as well. We'll be happy to run it, set it up. The date that we have set, we've got to confirm it with the West Pasco Realtors Association building, is we're looking at August 8th, Monday at 6:30. If that sounds good to have that discussion and just kind of presentation, just an open workshop. We can kind of run it. Melanie will, chair it and all and put a presentation on.
I'm absolutely in favor. Any of the council have any
I'll be there.
Yep, I'll go.
We'll be there.
Great. All right.
It's good.
Thank
looking
you
forward
very
to it.
much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Let's see, Chet Jasic.
Chet Jasic, 5134 Miller Bayou Drive. I'd just like to reiterate, I sent an email to all the council members and got replies back from everybody, but reiterate, I live on the bayou. I've done a lot of talking with all our neighbors. We're all pretty much close-knit family around the bayou, and there is no problem with noise on the bayou. We can hear the music from the different establishments. It doesn't bother us. If there's anything that has to be done, if there's any complaints, you might want to consider changing the ordinance, not enforcing no amplified music outdoors, but change it to say maybe you want to shut it off at 11 o'clock or turn the decibels down at some certain time. But during the day, no problem whatsoever. And we're willing to get a petition of all the bayou and all the residents all around there to prove that to you if you need to. When I talked to a couple of councilmen, they says, well, we have a few people complaining, but they're complaining loud. So we need to get the people that are for the music and doesn't mind it to also speak up and somehow get them up to, well, we'll just get a petition or something to get to you. That's all I have to say is,
I would love to see the petition. I really would.
yeah,
We're
I'd like to
trying
see something done like that, and I think, if I can help with it, I will do that.
Okay.
Anyways, I'd like to see business flourish here. One of the reasons I moved here, and I should have brought it, I have a newspaper clipping back, 15 years ago that I saw in the St. Pete Times that showed a picture of Port Richey wanting to have a John's Pass with boardwalks, boutiques, restaurants. That's what I thought I was moving to. This is 17 years later, and it's the same old crap. So let's get on board. Let's have these businesses flourish here. They hire people. We got people out not walking the streets. You got more important things to worry about. As I said, we've got prostitutes and we got drug houses. Take care of that, and don't worry about music.
Thank you, Chad. Eric Sujanen. I finally learned how to pronounce it.
Eric Soinen, 5914 Treadway. I just kind of want to reiterate what I've been saying all along. The workshop, the work session, I think that's perfect. I think that's what we need to do. We've tried to be a good neighbor. We'll continue to try to be a good neighbor. Everybody, I think, wants the same thing here. We want to, not disturb neighbors. We've been talking the last variance meeting that we had that we're going to use directional speakers. We'll use sound absorbing curtains if we need to. But I think it shouldn't go lost on anybody that there's only been 3 sound complaints in the last year. And I understand that the WOD says, the verbiage in there, but it's very ambiguous. And I think if we do a work session, we can get all this stuff figured out and get it to where it works for everybody. And I think that's just what everybody wants. And with that, I would just like to personally say, I don't understand some of the venom that's coming at me. It's, I don't know what I've done to deserve any of it. I try to do a good job, and my wife, and we work hard, and I really do not get it. But with that said, I'm not going to lay down and just take it either. I'm not going to, but I think we can figure this out. I really do, and I will do my best to help facilitate that the best that I can. For a win-win situation. Every time I talk to everybody in the BBA, we know that, okay, we're going to bring in more tourists, we're going to bring in kayakers, boaters, and everything else. We know that it's going to be our responsibility to protect our environment and make sure that we're not getting nasty people in here that are going to be littering and just, tearing up their Ybor City comment or whatever. We don't want that any more than you do. But we do want viable business, and the businesses down there are continuing to improve. We started 2.5 years ago. We lost a considerable amount of money the first 2 years. The second year, a little bit less than the first year. This year, we might actually even make a profit because the sales are growing a little bit, and we're doing a good job. We are number 2 of 95 restaurants in Port Richey in 2.5 years. And I'm a plumber, folks. That's saying something. We got some good people. We keep it clean. I just don't want that to get lost on everybody, that I think there is a way to work together, and it starts with this work session that we're talking about. And it needs to be open-minded and just fair, respectful business. Thank you.
I would like to make one comment. I've been I've caught some of the venom that you're speaking about. I don't run the building department. I certainly wouldn't have directed anyone to go to my friend Donnie's and enforce whatever was done there. So you all know, this council doesn't meddle in the affairs of the building department. Okay, Kristen Tonkin.
Good evening, Kristen Tonkin, 10220 Hilltop, Newport Richey. Again, I'm going to also reiterate the need of having a meeting together with the council and the business community. We had a monumental meeting last night. It was very overwhelming response from residents, businesses, and our county leaders. And I wanted just to interject with that proposed meeting is on August 8th again, so you remember that. One thing that I was noticing lately through a few discussions over the internet were that some of the emails were coming from council members and department heads without the proper, well, for instance, Jim's email still says Tom's, so that's confusing. So I think that even though he's an interim, we should still probably change it to have it be his name on the email. And that I think that any emails, correspondence between elected officials should be put forth just from the city's emails. It shouldn't be their private emails when they're talking to residents and business community. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I think that, well, the last time I was before you, we were discussing the 4th of July, and it's going to be again next year. So I was thinking that we should have an Independence Day celebration committee, and it would be a volunteer committee. Some of the BBA members are interested in doing it, and possibly some of you all could want to be involved, and the residents too. So I just wanted to put that out there. The other thing, of course, is going back with what Mr. Melton said earlier on, that all the things, all of the meetings that we talked about, all the grants that we went forth with and we applied for, all of those things are still actually going on. I called FWC the other day to find out about the designation of the $100,000 that they were going to give to us for the Nix Park boat ramp. I think that, they said the money is still coming. And even though we have plans to possibly have a boat ramp in the waterfront park in the future with our Restore Act funds, I think that we should go ahead and take that money when it's given to us and repair the boat ramp, because it's very dangerous. I had a man come to the marina, Sunset Landing Marina, that's my family's business. He had flesh-eating bacteria because he slipped on the uneven pavement on the boat ramp, and it could have been very bad for him, and who knows, it could have been very bad for us also. The city might have had repercussions from that also. So with that, thank you very much, and I'm always open for a phone call or an email or any suggestions that you might have. Thank you.
I now have Johnny St. Martin, my neighbor. Are you okay? Thomas Brown.
Thomas Brown, 7436 Candlelight Court. Some of you have just received a few minutes ago a 2-page letter describing issues that I have disagreement with. I don't expect any comments on those issues tonight. Please weigh the facts and reach some decisions that we can discuss at a future meeting. I am hopeful that some of the issues will become null and void when agenda item 4 is read tonight. Also on tonight's agenda is a 3-part expense titled Pasco County Utilities - Home Depot Sewer. I would like to know, when the matter is up for discussion, what the city got for the $47,440. And I was going to ask the city to look into replacing the stop sign at the exit of the cottages on Pine Hill Road, but Pat has informed me that the city might not own that stop sign. They might own it themselves, but he is going to look into it. Thank you.
What is the two-page letter that,
Everybody got one.
did you get one? We haven't got it.
They don't have it yet.
All right. Penfield Hondros.
Hi, I'm Penfield Hondros. I live at 7433 Candlelight Court. Hello, Mayor Masad,
How are you?
City Council members. Thank you for giving me a moment here. I just wanted to review, last month, I brought to your attention the letter of June 3rd from the Pasco Public Works regarding the matter of the recent paving on Walnut Street and the fact that our properties that abut Walnut Street, that's Candlelight Court, there are 9 homes total that abut that street, and I'm one of them. They stated in their letter that, and the issue for those of you who are not familiar is that they paved this road. They did not give notice to us, the residents who were abutting Walnut Street. They only notified the Walnut Street residents. And in so doing, they've decided that we can no longer have our rear access to that road. Additionally, they harmed an already poor drainage situation, okay? The reason why we had somewhat of a drainage thing going on was because it was an unpaved road that percolated the rain. Now they've paved it, so they've now raised the road by about 4 inches, so it can no longer percolate, and it was a neutral flow situation before. Now it's just become dreadful. It's flooding yards on Candlelight Court. The water's pooling up at the end at Orange Grove and Walnut, and now they're denying us our rear access that we've had for over 30 years because they're saying that the Walnut Street has been paid for by the assessment of the 9 residents on Walnut Street, the dead-end street. So Bruce, my husband, and I put together a letter summarizing these issues that we brought to the city's attention last month. I don't know how many of you have you seen we said in the letter you could share it with other staff members and council members. I'd be happy to provide anyone a copy that doesn't have a copy of this letter. But basically, we did summarize what the problem was, and as the residents, the 9 residents that are being affected, what we are suggesting is that in order to keep our access, that we share the cost with whatever the Walnut Street residents incurred. So in other words, that the city of Port Richey allow.
Do everyone yield their minutes?
What?
You ran out of time.
Oh, I did? I'm sorry. Oh, that was a
I
beep
would
for me.
like
Shut
the
up?
council
Okay.
to hear this because Jack and I have been out. Please.
Okay, so,
Give her another.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
There you go.
Oh,
got
thank
3.
you, thank you. So anyway, what we're offering to do is to also be assessed, okay? Because we understand there is a cost. So my husband and I did meet with the mayor previously, and what we said we would do would be get the names of all the owners in question, and what we were planning to do was make a petition and get a majority of the people. We've already verbally got 7 of the 9 saying, yes, we want this, okay? But just to make it official, have them sign our petition and then go forward, because apparently the city and the county need to give each other permission, because it's one of those weird streets where we're half county, half city, okay? So it's a drainage situation, it's a cost share situation, and it's the grandfathering that we don't really want our rights taken away. And I think the thing about them putting a fence up, I think that was just hokey pokey that they were saying to scare us, you know, but they were threatening to put up a fence to keep us off the street. So is that my 3 minutes?
No, you still have time,
So-
but I will tell you that
so-
Mr. Mariano has addressed that with his staff
Yes.
and put that on hold, and go ahead.
Okay, well, it's a safety situation too also because of the water main. There is the water main that runs all along that Walnut Street that is the thing that's abutting our property. So we need an apron, which is a ramp, for those of you not familiar with the construction term. We need the ramp, and it will in fact go over as part of the drainage that's required. They will have to install this ramp over the, whatever the pit is, where it goes
Over.
to connect the rear driveway to the road. So that's a matter of great concern that it be done properly and that permits are obtained and, you know, okay, so there, I'm done.
Okay. Jack, would you like to speak to that? We met out there and met the residents of Walnut,
Right.
and I think we're going to use diggers.
Yeah, the fence is not going to happen. And now that we can proceed with the co-sharing of the costs, we can work on that ramp thing as far as to keep the water, because it does need to flow. We're actually going to try to go further all the way at the back and try to do some drainage clean out all the way in the canal there too, so the water can get out there, work its way down the lake too.
big problem.
Okay. Yeah.
Big mosquito hell and
We're going to work on the whole thing.
Mr. Mayor, how would we go forward? Do you want me to present this to the commission, or would you point us in the next direction?
I would say you have the petition together, have them all sign it, whether we're ready to go, then we'll coordinate a meeting with the staff, and then we'll kind of figure out from there.
Okay, so get the petition to you?
Get the
or
petition to
Mr.
us, and then we'll set a meeting up with our administrator as well as you,
Okay,
and we'll kind of work it out from there.
all right, thank you very much. Ms. Starkey and Mr. Mariano, it's nice to have commissioners that work with us. Any more from the council? I think I ran out of work. Anyone? All right, I'll bring it to council. Any comment?
Well, I want to welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. Just a moment to recognize the people that the last week or two have had some terrible tragedies throughout the United States, and I'm sure all our hearts go out to them and their families. It's a problem that needs to be dealt with. I have some ideas I'd like to share with Police Chief Lovering. I think education is going to be absolutely mandatory to move forward so they can move away from this kind of thing. I don't think we'll ever get rid of it in today's society, but I think we can maybe move in a direction, and maybe it's the grassroots that can start it, but I think there's things that we can do to help the situation, I believe. And I'm tired of coming to work and seeing the flags at half-mast. It seems like it's every week, and it's got to stop, folks. But just to say that we extend our sympathies and condolences to those families. With that, I only have one other thing. I was also working on the Candlelight situation, and I don't want to say anything yet, but for our citizens in Candlelight, have faith. I feel there is movement to help you in more ways than you realize. And that's all I'll say right now. The commissioners are working on something. It's very possible that you will be pleasantly surprised at the results. That's all I have.
I'd like to address a little that we had on the WOD. Again, I think we definitely can work together on this, and I do think that the places like Guild Dogs do a good job in bringing in some of the millennials and younger people with their kayaking and their craft beers, and I think that's a good thing, and we can build on that. The millennials will be the next purchasers of property. If they like the area that we have, that'll help our property values in the big picture. So I like what they're doing. I think we can all work together in this next meeting.
I have noticed that we have a real big communication problem in the council meetings, that quite often there are things that are brought up and they're not addressed fully, and then they don't come back, and then they come back and they don't. And the examples is from the public, we had Mrs. Spalding brought up that she wanted to know about grants, and I'm sure she hasn't received an answer on that. And Councilman Rowe had brought up that he wanted to start a committee on maybe reviewing some of these more archaic ordinances that we might have, I mean, for lack of a better term. And so I would like to think about maybe putting old business on the agenda as a permanent area so that we can bring these things back up in a timely fashion for both the public and the council.
I think that's a good idea, and we have changed it a bit with the public where we respond back when necessary, and that wasn't necessarily the way we used to do business, but whoever's going to be sitting here will have to take down, and then you need to find a way to bring it back in the old business. But I agree with you.
Mayor, one thing before we go, I did talk to Curtis Franklin about the Restore Act funds this week, and they are held up right now with the state of Florida. They are moving forward, but it's the usual red tape that you have to go through on these, and he is waiting to hear from them, but it is still propelling its way through the red tape, and so he is looking for hopefully some answer by August. So be assured it is still moving forward.
Okay, anyone else? I have a couple of issues I'd like to bring forward. Not agended items, I can call it an emergency thing. We need to put out an RFP for fixing the ramps at Nick's Park. The south ramp is broken, you can't use it. And we still have, Pat, we still have the engineering report and estimates, correct?
We do.
Okay.
We have the estimates, and we can renew the permit. It's a matter of $80, I've been told.
Okay.
That's up to your discretion.
I would love to have a motion to put out an RFP.
I'll make that emergency motion to put out an RFP for the boat ramp repair.
I'll second it.
Got a second? Okay. Public want to speak to this? I'll bring it back to council. Any thoughts? Hope? Got one.
Hi, just real quick, my name's Janet Crawford, 5213 Bay Boulevard, and I just wanted to welcome our new commissioners on board. Last time I was up here, it was back in December, and I wasn't real nice. We had 6 people sitting out here because we said that the city didn't listen to us, and now I think we got a group here that wants to work with the city and make it better, and you're gonna communicate, and I just wanted to welcome you and thank you, because the people voted you in because we liked what you had to say, and you wanna work with the people, and I think you're gonna make this a great city again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? I'll bring it back to council. We have a motion and a second to fix Nick's Park ramp. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Passes unanimously. One more thing I want to bring up is the kiosk for Nick's Park. We need a workshop to get moving. Government moves a little too slow for me. I apologize, but I've talked to Jocelyn, and July 19th at 6:30 is an available time if it fits with the rest of the council. Anybody have a problem with that date and time?
I'll make it happen.
Okay.
I'll be
Motion.
there.
Okay, I think I need a motion
Oh,
to
you need a
have the
motion?
kiosk workshop.
Okay, I make the motion to have a workshop on July 19th.
I'll
Six-
second it.
Okay.
There's
Motion-
excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you. There's a conflict. The Port Authority Board asked to have their meeting on the 19th, and I set it up for them.
Okay.
Can you give me a quick second date?
Any other day work better for you? Wednesday or Thursday of that same week?
I will be there.
Do you want to try it for the next day?
20th?
Mhm.
Okay. I amend my motion to July 20th.
All right, motion second for workshop on the kiosk at Nix Park. All the public, I hope you're there. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Moving on to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Any problems or thoughts about that?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We next have discussion of selection process for city manager. Need any thoughts or how you want to go forward? We have more than enough candidates. You wanna take
Yeah,
that
can I
over?
say a few things, Mayor? You've done this before, right?
Yes.
You've done this before, right? You haven't, right? Okay. I'll tell you how we did it before, but doesn't mean you have to do it this way, okay? We're a little over 30 days since the advertisements went out. I think I gave you the statistics in my memo, but we have about 80 responses, okay, to the advertisement. We advertised it in all the appropriate places, probably more than usual. Myself and staff have broken the applicants into three categories. The first category, which was 20 or 30, maybe even 40, and correct me if I make a mistake, Aaron, in the numbers, inappropriate. Okay, these were, okay, and we didn't advertise this on like Monster or Indeed or anything. These were at governmental websites. And the second category that we reviewed, and these are available to all the council members and the public if you want to see these, are the unqualified, okay? So we were left with about 25, and I think I gave you hard copies of all of those. Now, at this point in time, you have several choices you could make. You can, they pretty much slowed down in the last week, so I don't think we're going to get many more. You could wait longer, you could increase the amount of money you're offering, that'll solicit more, or you could look at these 25 and decide what you want to do. After looking at these 25, normally what we would do is myself and staff would go through and pick, generally we thought about 10 that we thought qualified, and then we'd bring them back and tell you who they are as soon as we've done that within the next week or so. And then if you see something in the other 15 that we don't choose, you could add it to the list, okay? And I bring it back at a meeting, and then you look at those 12, and then you could score them and get down to about 5 or 6. And then the next thing you would do at the following meeting is we would arrange to have those 5 or 6 appear by telephone, and you could speak with them. And generally, you'd ask about 3 to come in, unless you want to bring 5 in or whatever. I could tell you from past experience that many candidates, some are out of state, some are here, will request to be paid to come and speak. You may not want to do that, you know what I mean, but they may insist on that. They'll generally come, if they do come from out of town, even if they're locally, they'll take a tour of the building and the city and those kind of things. So that's the process I was thinking of doing. Anything you want to add to that, Dr. Martinez? Unless you want to change that. That's pretty much where we're up to.
I think it's in your hands.
And just, I guess the only thing I'd like some comments about is, and we discussed this at length, when we pick these 10 out of these 25, and obviously you can add to them if you see someone else. And if you want to look at the other 2 categories, I gave you a link, and you can look at those 60. What you're looking for. We're looking for experience, we think is very important, number one. I don't think Port Richey's a city manager position that you want to be cutting teeth on, to be perfectly honest. I'm not sure why I think that, but sometimes you just get that feeling. Number 2 is management experience. You need someone that can manage. And number 3 is finances. Although we just have, we're a regular full city, we have a $5 million general fund, but we also have a business venture, a $3.5 million to $4 million business venture with about 5,000 customers. So it's a $10.5 million budget. So So those are the things we're looking for. Is there something else you're looking for? Don't tell me young, old, or get in trouble with that. But, so that's what I'll do, and, any comments, so we'll do. Anything you want to add? We're good?
What do you, you're saying we want to bring back you're gonna.
I'm gonna present to you 10. And I'll send it out to you in an email after we sat down and go over these. I've read every one of them. I've read all 80 or 90. I'll say, these are the 10 that myself and staff have come up with. Do you want to add to it? Okay, and you might have one more, you might have one more, or whatever, and it'll come to 12 or 13. I'll bring them back here, and we'll score them and do 4 or 5 by phone. And you can bring.
Is this gonna be at council?
That's the only way you can do it.
Okay. Can we subtract from it?
Yeah, sure, you can do anything you want. If I bring in 6, you come in here and say, look, we just want to interview 3 by phone. That's fine, whatever you want.
My friend Jim's hair, the more it's messed up, the more anxiety I can put it into this job. So we don't want anyone with anxiety problems, and I'd probably like to have it top 4 or something.
Let's make it 5.
4 or 5.
You want me to whittle it down to 5? Okay, it's up to you? Yep. All right, trust me that much. Okay, Dr. Martinez, you got that? 5 it is, so we'll be spending a little time to get there. And if you see one others, I'm gonna add to them.
And we
So
can always add.
Yeah, if a council member says, Jim, I want this 6th one in there, I'll put it in. Does that work, no matter who it is? Okay, 5 it is.
Okay.
Okay, gentlemen, we are going on to the next part of this. Public hearing. Before I speak, before I let this go further, I had a,
We need the lawyer for this?
yes. Are we at the, is this your proposed millage? You're gonna read this, correct?
I'll take care of the millage.
Okay, well, that's next. I'm sorry, I was gonna speak.
You wanna do
to
that
something.
next? Or you do
Well,
the
it
first
is.
reading of the ordinance?
Is that not the personnel manual? You
Yeah,
wanna
that's
do
what we're
this?
doing, yeah.
I have the
then
city
we'll go
attorney
to
on the
You got
phone.
Mr. Poplick ready?
Okay.
Yeah,
Just one second.
First readings, but Joe's there. Mr. Poplick's in Tallahassee. Can you get him on the phone?
Yes, sir. Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I need you to speak as loud as possible if you can.
Okay.
Okay. We are currently on item number 3, the public hearing for the first reading of ordinance number 16-650 regarding the personnel manual. The Attorney Public,
Yes, present.
go ahead and read that first reading, if you would, of 16-650.
Certainly. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Port Richey, Florida, providing for the repeal of ordinance number 450A, 95450B, 95450C, 96450D, 96450E, 97450F, 97450G, 98450H, 98450I, 00450J, 01450K, 03450L, collectively referred to as Appendix C, Personnel Manual, providing for conflicts, severability, and an effective date.
Okay, I have trouble hearing that.
You just read this.
Yeah, at the top. Motion to approve. Ordinance number 16-650.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Does the public want to speak to this in any way? Okay. I'll bring it back here. Do you have any comments?
Just a quick question. I know the union representative was here last time. Has he been advised that we're moving forward on this? I think he had some
assume
concerns.
he has.
Is it necessary at this point?
I guess the short answer, Mr. Poplick, if you can hear me, you can comment, but the short answer is, this is just the first reading. After the second reading, we'll be asking for a resolution of adopting the old one, so we have one in place, and at that point in time, from the union standpoint, nothing's changed. But I can assure you, they're well aware of what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I'm going, if you want to stay online, I'm going to go over our discussion today.
We have a motion and a second.
Can he, is he still on?
Yes, sir, he is.
Can you hear me?
Joe, can you hear the mayor?
You haven't voted on this yet.
We gotta
haven't
vote
voted
on
it.
it.
I'm sorry, Joe.
We can do that for you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We need to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I
Joe,
think
that
you
motion passed first reading.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else?
I'm gonna pass.
Stand by just one
You can tell
second,
them to
please.
stay on the line.
Sure.
Can you hear me at all, Joe?
I can relay whatever you want.
Okay, well, I'll just tell the public. The meeting we're getting ready to have, or the agenda item we are getting ready to have is a quasi judicial meeting. We do not have a full council and we don't have an attorney. If you don't understand what that means, it means that we are sitting as the judge and without an attorney, I don't really want to spar with Pete. That means we hear evidence, we cross-examine. We're not really trained to do that. Mr. Public, if he can hear me, has given me counsel that without a full council, without him present, and 2 new councilmen to this sort of meeting. As a matter of fact, we've been sued 3 times by Mr. Booth here. I would prefer that we table, if that was the counsel was given by Mr. Public. Council, have any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I would agree. I feel sorry for any inconvenience we've brought people, but I think without our legal representation and a full council, I don't think we should be making this decision tonight.
Okay, anybody else have a comment? Go to public, well, we don't have I do have a motion.
I'll have a motion to table.
Okay. Motion and a second. We want to table this because we want to get it right. We don't want to get sued. And you don't need to go to public.
It's a motion, you have to hear.
All right, now I'll go to public if anyone wants to speak to that. Go ahead, Ms. Franco.
Philip Franco, 5021 Mortiside Drive. I couldn't agree more. This is a really serious issue, and it involves, we've been sued 3 times. We have no guidance on this issue. We have never, as the head of the Board of Adjustment, I was just handed some papers that I have to sign that I've never seen before and I don't agree with. I'd like to have some time to look at them. It's a very, very serious issue. We just can't do this. We've never seen a full set of plans for this. We've never got any type, I'll give an example of it. I mean, here's what we're given for the building. It's either 10 foot 3 feet tall or 139 feet tall, according to what's on here. Both of them have some serious implications. We don't have anything that's accurate presented to us, and I've said this more than once. As you know, the Board of Adjustment recommended that this be turned over to council and more information be provided. I don't think you're in a position to receive that information tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Spalding?
Sandra Spalding, 8207 Old Post Road. Definitely table it. Hello. We don't have the attorney here. Some attorneys are hotshots, they're very good attorneys, but we would not be able to cope with that. And our interim city manager, even though he's an attorney, he's not the city attorney at this point, so he can't do anything. So let's smarten up. I'll leave you with that, thank you.
Anyone else from public?
Obviously, we're Steve Booth, 7510 Ridge Road in Port Richey, representing the applicant for these variances. It's unfortunate that we can't move forward tonight, or it appears as though you are going to take that position. The first meeting of the Board of Adjustment was continued for some unfortunate reasons. They didn't have a full board. And now we continue this one again. I don't know how long it's going to take. I think that we have to do it, recommend a date certain so that we don't have to re-advertise. Is that correct, Mr. Matthew?
I'd have to see when it was. I'm not sure off the top of my head what the advertising was. Veronica's not here, so.
Yeah, I believe that
Yeah,
if you
I
pick the
think we
date
may have
now,
to, yeah.
then that is acceptable to a date certain such that you don't have to re-advertise. But again, we are disappointed, but I'm not going to stand up here and argue against it.
I understand, and I want you to know that we're very receptive to Whiskey Joe's class act, as I understand it, and we're definitely willing to work with you. I just don't want to get myself in the wrong position.
If we could, go ahead and discuss a date certain just as soon as possible.
Well, how about next council meeting?
We have to speak to Veronica regarding the retirement.
Could I speak,
The
Ms. Mayor?
requirement for advertising.
I will call you with it. I'll speak to Mr. Public tomorrow and check the file, and if it can be done at the next council meeting, we'll do it.
What's the
Does that
date of
work?
the next
It'll be
council
2 weeks
meeting?
from today, I would presume, right?
26th. We just let the city attorney know what we're doing. Joe, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, as of right now, we have a motion and a second regarding item number 3 on the agenda, item number 4 regarding the appeal and recommendation from the Board of Adjustment. We've had a motion and a second to table that item due to not having a full council and not having council present at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, what were you saying about the next agenda? Next 2 weeks from Tuesday, does that fit with you, Mr. Booth?
Yes, sir, that looks good.
I'll let you know as soon as possible,
You're gonna-
Steve.
Okay.
Okay, I'll.
All right, I have a motion and a second to table Whiskey Joe's agenda item. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we need the attorney any further for this evening?
No, I can't hear him anymore.
Joe, that's all. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. All right, bye-bye.
Did you
Thank
approve the
you.
minutes yet?
I apologize if we
Did you
ever
approve
call
it?
you Trader Joe's. It's happened all. Okay, again, we're very welcoming to Whiskey Joe's in this city. And I apologize for tonight, but I did not know we wouldn't have council. Okay, we have number 5 is added to our
I'll do that, Mr. Mayor, unless you
agenda.
want to.
Mr. Matthew?
The revenue figures and assessment of property from the property appraiser's office came in a couple of days ago. At this point in time, the next step we're legally obligated to do is to set a maximum millage rate. Okay, now this isn't, if we don't do it today, and it's somewhat routine, if we don't do it today, I have to call all of you back for a special meeting. That'll take about 3 minutes, so I'm trying to save you that trouble. Each and every year we do this, and every other city does it. You set a maximum millage rate. Now, what that means is you don't have to raise the millage rate that high, and it doesn't mean you can't go to the rollback rate, and it doesn't mean you can't go below it, okay? So, as we recommended for the last several years, and I'm recommending to just set the maximum millage rate 1 mil greater than last year. And from my 10 hours of crunching the numbers with the finance department, we will not be going anywhere near that high. So what happens is if you go above that number, then you have to send out a notice of a tax increase. So normally I'd say you might as well just set it to max, but we're extremely confident it's not going to get anywhere near that.
Okay, so.
Just looking for a motion to set the maximum millage rate for legal purposes is 1 mil above last year's. What's the number, Jocelyn? Yeah, read the numbers out, Aaron.
Typically, we set it 1 mil higher than the adjusted rollback rate. The
Right.
adjusted rollback rate was 5.9027. Yes, so we would set it 1 mil higher at 6.9027. Again, it's never accepted, it's never been accepted that high. It just gives you a little room to play.
I thought we were at 5.7. No?
Our current mill is 5.7666.
Okay.
So the rollback is 5.7557.
You're confusing the
Sorry.
adjusted rollback rate with the rollback rate. Yes, the rollback, there's an adjusted rollback rate and a rollback rate. One is that's what, and so the answer is the mayor's correct. The assessment for all the properties in Port Richey this year went up, what was it, about 2%? According to Mike Wells's, it went up very little. Okay, so the rollback rate is slightly less. The adjusted rollback rate is something the state does, which takes in other factors like how many people you have and, you know, did people move in and out? So it's 1 point above the adjusted rollback rate, which is, but you're correct, the actual rollback rate is slightly less than it was, than the actual millage rate last year.
Okay, so.
Because of the increase in value, very little bit.
Okay, so our.
Yeah, the actual rollback, you know, the number was 5.75.
Okay, so.
Rollback.
What do we want? The motion needs to be
It
one.
must be one mil above the adjusted rollback rate.
And
Yeah, that's what they
adjusted
make you do. You can't go more than one.
Sir, I don't mean to.
Yeah, correct me, go ahead.
The adjusted rollback rate is 5.9027.
That's correct.
The rollback rate is the
That's right.
5.7557.
Right, that's what the mayor was trying to get to. Why
Right.
did it seem so high?
Typically, we set it 1 mil higher than the 5 point.
Than the adjusted.
Then the adjusted.
rollback rate.
Okay, yeah, that's what okay.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay, well, I want to tell the public, we're not gonna raise taxes. But we do need we need to set the maximum at 6.9027, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that your motion, Mr.?
I will make that motion, that we accept the 1 mil rate at 6.9027.
Okay, I have a motion. Okay, motion and a second to set the adjusted rollback rate at 6.9027. I will now go to public. Mr. Martin, St. Martin.
John St. Martin, 5419 Miles Boulevard, 5418 Miles Boulevard, 8124 Washington Street, 8120 Washington Street, 5744 Sunglow, 5800 Sunglow, 5 properties.
So you want to raise the tax?
Don't raise our taxes.
We will not.
5 properties. I don't come here very often. I trust you guys. Voted for you guys. Don't do it.
We will, I will not vote for it, and I think the other council feels the same way. I have a motion, anybody else, Mr. Baldy?
Sandra Spalding, 82070 Old Post Road. Why do we even have to raise it 1 mil?
What's that?
Why do we even have to do that?
I'll let Mr. Matthew take that.
Well, you don't. You could set it right. You could just say the maximum's that, but what happens is you take all emergencies out. I mean, if all of a sudden they pass a law next week and says we do away with red light cameras, you got a serious problem or anything else. I mean, it's.
Well, if we got more grants, we wouldn't have the serious problem. And if you don't-
Understood, but I guess that's the answer.
Now, what does that come to in dollars and cents, this 1 mil? I know.
Well, over the city, that raises $235,000.
Figures in the memo, it's about 1.4 million, is that right?
No, how much does it come?
That was $235,000 per mil.
Does it hit us with, the people? What is 1 mil more gonna do with our taxes?
Well,
'Cause
it
don't
would
forget, we
make
got the
them
county,
one
too.
more,
Gonna raise it $100
I
more a
can't
year?
divide
$200 more a year?
5.9027 out.
Right.
Ms.
It
Spalding,
is not going there,
on
but
a house with a value of $100,000, 1 mil would raise their taxes $577 for the entire year.
That's a lot of money.
That's a house valued at $100,000.
That's still a lot of money.
Cost me about $6,000 a year.
You know what? We don't
Please.
need to raise it, not even 1 mil. Why don't we just live within a budget and leave extra money for emergencies? Why don't we tighten our belt a little bit like you're all talking about?
Wait a minute.
Excuse me.
What-
It's my 3 minutes.
I know, can I
okay,
have?
stop the clock. We'll let this.
Can you stop the clock? I want to share
Go
some
ahead, sir.
information with her. I know this sounds like we're raising taxes, we're not. This is a procedural matter. It doesn't mean we're raising taxes. We do this to satisfy the state that we have given ourselves room in case we need it, but we don't, because the staff has worked very hard to do exactly what you want, to hold the line.
With
on
all
this.
due respect, Mr. O, I understand that. I've been at these city meetings a long time, 23 years. I do understand what you're saying. What I'm telling you is how easy we sneak things in later on. Don't tell me you don't. Don't say that, because it's not true. You want people to buy in the city, like Mr. St. Martin. All right, how much is he gonna pay? $500 each place? Come on.
Per 100,000.
Per 100,000, excuse me. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, I cannot keep my home if you raise the taxes. I pay over $2,500 for insurance, house insurance, and I pay over $2,000 for flood insurance. Now, you're gonna raise another $500 with what I'm paying now? Forget about it. And how many people are in my situation in this city? You better think about things. Tighten your belt. Don't raise the mill. Thank you.
Let me make this to Ms. Baldy. We are not going to raise the taxes. This has been done every council that I've been on since I made a comment once when Eloise was mayor and I was a council person that she said we just need wiggle room, and that's what we've always done. And I said Mr. Lupo might wiggle into it. So I understand what your thoughts are,
But how many times did we wiggle into it?
Never.
Never. In all these years?
Not on the council I was in.
I didn't say your council, that you were
Well,
on.
that's half
I'm
of it.
saying the council in 23 years. They can wiggle very easily into it. I'm just gonna leave you with that. I have to stand by what I feel. Nobody else is getting it.
Do you feel comfortable just leaving?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a maximum amount.
See, just for the public, I want to tell you, this is the maximum amount that we could go to. Like Mr. Matthews has said, if the red light cameras went out, we wouldn't be able to fund the police department, various things that the public wants. I am comfortable at setting it at 5.9027, if the council feels that.
What?
Go ahead. That's exactly where it is. We're for going down.
Chet Jasic, 5134 Miller Bayou Drive.
sir.
I understand pretty much what you're saying. Our taxes will not raise 1 penny if you do what you're doing right now. If you,
If we go, you can explain that.
It's a maximum amount you could do. You can do anything you want except go above that.
We can't-
You could lower it to no taxes. That's all
so
that's
these
happening.
adjusted rates get adjusted higher every year.
No, this rate here, we will expect to go under 5.9027
And what is it now?
or
What are
at
we paying right now?
5.9027.
Okay.
The 1% increase has just been a traditional thing, so you,
That
for
you could use if
unexpected.
you could raise, if you want to later. if you
No,
run
it can
out of-
only go to 6.9, it cannot go over that. But that is 1 mil over what you are currently at.
Well, you all know, the more government has to spend, the more they're gonna spend.
Well,
So
but-
please, just don't frickin' raise our taxes because you wanna build your budget so you can spend more money. You'll find more things to spend it on.
I want to make one comment to you, Chet. You're for all this things that we're going to change in the waterfront overlay, which I'm not against. I want to do what the public wants. But the things that we do over there cost more money, and you got to realize that. The more bars, the more police we need. The more bars, the more the roads get eroded. So I'm just trying to explain. Everybody wants lower taxes and more services. That's a very difficult thing to do. This raise, I have no problem at leaving it maximum at where we are, or.
Eric, did you want to say something?
Yes. Our current millage rate is 5.7666. And Ms. Baldy, I apologize, I misunderstood your question. On a house that has a value of $100,000, the total annual taxes at that millage rate, which is the current one, would be $577. I don't.
Plus the county taxes on top.
Yes, but the question.
Right.
The question was, well, if we set it 1 mil higher, how much higher is that? And I missed the new math, but that would be $100, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll
I'm
be-
teasing her. I work with her for 5 hours a day now, but I can take that living. 1% of 100,000 is $100.
What is the preference of council? You want to continue with the traditional 1% over?
Just because that is procedural. I have no intention of taking our city there. And we'd have to have a unanimous vote, if I'm not wrong, to go there, along with a lot of other things.
So we can, at 0.5 over. We could do that.
Why not then? Why do you gotta do the full percent? Do half of that.
Again, you can talk to the mathematicians.
Put it at 0.5 and then you still got money.
I've already made, I always used to Mr. Matthews Harley earlier. We're not gonna raise it, I'm certain of that, barring a, what if the red light cameras go out?
I hope they do.
Well, then we're gonna have to raise it, or we're gonna have to change services. Mr. Brown?
Thomas Brown, 7436 Candlelight Court. I think millage rates would be affected if the person or the people suing the city over the red light cameras, if they're successful, are we in trouble?
Yeah. Mr. Matthews?
I think our exposure is about $1 million right now. I forget, Mr. Pavlik was following up on that, so I don't know. Yeah, but our exposure is small. Multiply 6 or 7 times, that would be Newport Richie, and Miami, you'd probably put them under, so the chance of that happening is slim. With regard to the overall question, why do I pick a number that high? I'll tell you why, because if you say I'm gonna do some millage rate right now, you haven't seen any figures. You understand? I mean, you'd be basing your decision. If you wanna say, look, set it 1/10 higher, you understand what I mean? But you wanna take that chance, you haven't seen any figures. Do you understand what I'm saying? You'd be doing it in a vacuum. That's my point. That's why you set it up there. You know, you don't know. I'm just saying, it's a philosophical, you can make it too, you can make your millage rate too.
Why set it before you get the figures?
Because we have to.
The state
We have to set
mandates.
the maximum.
The
we can
maximum.
go.
If you set it too low and you go above it, you have to spend money and send out a notice of tax increase to every single resident.
Did you go above it last year?
What?
Yeah, so that's the only, if you want to set, you can set it at 2 mils, then make it, you know, it makes a difference to me, but I think this is more of a philosophical question than anything else.
Would you like to speak, Bill?
Well, very well, 8429 Post Road. Did you go above it last year?
We did the rollback.
Did you go above the millage last year?
We did the
How about the year
rollback,
before?
which was,
How about the year before that?
If,
It's all hypothetical. You gotta do what you gotta do, you gotta get done. We got a whole new council up here that I know personally, they ain't gonna raise your taxes, they ain't gonna be trying to sink us, they're trying to make us float. You worry about pennies and dimes and we can't do nothing about it, just get it on, get it done.
Aaron, I would like to ask you, have any of the last five councils gone above the previous?
no, sir. Last year, we were 5.7666, that was the rollback rate. The previous 3 years before that, we were at 5.4348. That was below the rollback rate.
Okay. So, that's the answer. I think, you know, giving some room is okay. We can go at 5.79027 or.
yeah, we've always done it this way. We've never used this thing, so it's a safety thing, it's procedural, and I know every year we go through this, I get all kinds of calls this week coming up that you're raising my taxes, and no, I'm not raising your taxes. So, this is just procedural thing that we do every single year.
And
Pardon?
Doesn't make it right. I mean, you do a lot of things different.
I'm gonna have to ask the public, even though you're all my friends, that if you wanna speak, come up. I will accept a 5.9027, if you want to, amend your motion.
I'll amend my motion to 5.90.
Do I have a second?
Give you enough?
And you, okay, you're amended. We have a second amended
Okay.
motion to 5.9027.
9027, okay. 5.9027.
So that means no one at all.
The top, it's only the top number. We can lower it from there, but we can't go over it. So that would mean no tax increase, which
No, you're setting, you want to set the same number,
same number would
not,
mean,
not one above. You want to set the same number.
that's
Right.
what the amended motion is.
Okay, just ask.
Okay? Er,
Are you gonna be safe with this?
I wouldn't have any idea.
That's our problem.
You want to do based on no information? Go ahead. I mean, seriously, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, in other words, no, but just think what you're doing here. You just took $700,000 out of reserves last time. We're trying to make that go away. And you don't want to just put a number up there that you won't have to show a tax increase? Okay. I'm going to come in here and give you, cut whatever you want to cut.
But that's not a tax increase.
That's, of course not, it's not a tax increase. This is nothing, this has to do with anything about a tax increase. Every city in the state does this, okay, the same way. But if you don't want to do it, and you want to tie your hands to a number that you don't have any information on, fine. It's up to you. We'll give it to you. I'm telling you, I don't even understand what you're doing here. You don't want to. Look, you can have a whole presentation, bring it in next week, and you want to start doing the budget, and then say, okay, well, we're okay now. We're not going to get that high. It's up to you. Yeah, I got it. No, it's like, every city does this. You don't want to do it?
I rescind my motion.
Yeah.
Let me just say something to the public so you understand this. This has been done, as we said, the last 5 years. It's never been raised. When we'd never go to the millage we set above it. Now, were the red lights cameras, were we to lose that entire income? And you would have to be willing to accept a lot of cuts, more than we're making already. And that's the question. So, you're just gonna have to trust us and hope that there is no emergency things. And I can tell you, it would have to be an emergency for me to vote for any increase, and I'm on tape. So.
I've rescinded
what-
my motion. I will make a new motion to set the, back where we were at 1 mil at 6.9027.
And I'll second.
Okay. The public has spoken. We have understood what you said, but you want to speak again, Mr. St. Martin? Okay. Okay. Hold me to it.
You're my neighbor.
I have a motion to set the millage rate at 6.9027. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's go home. Oh.
What is that last motion you were gonna make? The motion you were gonna make?
The last motion I give you?
To go home, I just want some motivation.
Oh. Yep, I think we're,
1%, well, that's what you can't
okay.
Well, I told you would have this.
do. One for you and one for you. Remember what yours was, right?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah,
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bam. That's dadgummed early for this meeting.
I mean, theoretically, something could
I do understand what, you know.